On March 8, 2018, babysitter Lindsay Partin alerts Ohio police that the toddler she watches suddenly collapsed. After Hannah is rushed to the hospital, Partin, who is a mother herself, is brought in to speak with law enforcement. Detectives need to figure out what exactly happened here, including whether this was an accident.
You know that she's mischievous, Hannah, and that when she's at home with her dad, that he's very busy and he doesn't get to pay attention. Yeah.
She has a severe brain.
Oh my God. I believe you're not being honest with us and you need to come clean with it because you're going to be a part of this.
10 days after collapsing, Hannah Wesche would be pronounced dead. Partin goes back to the beginning of the day and she explains something interesting. She says Hannah's father, Jason, brought his daughter over and she was wearing a hood.
Is Jason capable of this? Does he have a temper? Have you ever seen it? Have you ever seen him hit the kids?
No, I haven't.
Really, it could only be one of two people. It was either Partin or it was him, because they literally had their hands on this child and passed her off within moments of each other.
So I'm going to be very matter of fact with you. If you're sitting here telling the truth, that's great. But if you're sitting here and you're covering and you know things, listen to the words I'm going to tell you. You will be
Yes.
It is highly unlikely that she would have been able to have been injured the day before.
When she looked up at me and said, "Buddy, can I have donut and couch?" and went to take her jacket off and she fell on that side.
This is bruised on both sides. Yeah.
Children can certainly injure themselves in falls. We've all seen it. Every toddler falls down. They have a few bumps and bruises along the way, and yet they're not the same types of injuries. What's the difference is the severity and the number and the location.
You're going to have bruising on the sharp points. If you fall straight forward, you're not going to have bruising over here. A lot of these aren't adding up to a fall on the gravel.
It's at this point when Partin tells the detectives that she left something out of her story about what happened prior to Hannah suddenly collapsing.
So I slipped on her blanket. I opened the door and we both went down. I was holding her on the left side. When I slipped, it hit her side. I actually hit my head on the door coming down, but she smacked her face, her head really hard on the concrete step. And I fell, and she fell.
But Partin is about to make an admission that will dramatically affect this whole case.
How does this happen?
I slapped her upside the head.
With what?
My hand. And I didn't think that hurt her. I really didn't.
So these were closed fists like uppercuts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lindsay Partin is eventually charged with child endangerment, manslaughter, and murder for the death of Hannah Wesche. Partin's defense argued that she didn't cause Hannah's death. In fact, they say the toddler collapsed within a minute of having been dropped off at Partin's house, and it's possible her injuries could have resulted from something or someone else.
So she can't say it was 20 minutes, she can't say it was an hour, she can't say days.
Because that's reasonable doubt. That says this child was injured somewhere else, not in the 30 seconds, not in the minute that Lindsay Partin had her.
The problem with autopsies and most forensic evidence is we don't know how the trauma was inflicted. So that's why that's always a battle of the experts.
Do you have an opinion to a reasonable degree of medical certainty as to whether or not Hannah could have been walking or talking or behaving in a normal fashion after receiving the injuries that resulted in her death?
She could not. This is a tremendous brain injury. This is really serious.
If the state's pathologist had testified as to a significant or severe force, you would disagree with that?
Yes, I would disagree with that.
If Partin didn't inflict these injuries, then who did? The defense pointed the finger at Hannah's father, Jason Wesche.
You immediately shoved that thing into reverse and got the heck out of the driveway?
Yeah, when I'm leaving for work, yes ma'am, I started
Is
my
that when
car.
Hannah fell in the back seat and hit her head?
Hannah never fell in the back seat.
Because if she fell in the back seat, climbing over the front seat, and hit her head, and it killed her, then you'd be responsible. Isn't that true?
I assume I would, yes ma'am.
Today is the first time you've told Detective Turner in this room that you didn't go get milk the night before, but instead you went to Fairfield?
No ma'am.
When did you previously tell him that?
When I found out, Monday morning when we were at court.
I indicated that your whereabouts for the night of the 7th of March were very important and suspicious. Doesn't have anything to do with that?
No, ma'am.
Lindsay, did you cause harm to Hannah Wesche on March 8th?
I did not.
Why did you tell the police that you did?
Because I wanted to protect everybody.
Why would you want to protect someone who did this to a child?
I always think the best of people.
When she told jurors that she was protecting people, she's doing that at the expense of the child because she's not protecting the child. If she wanted to protect the child, she would have told the truth about who actually did this as soon as it happened.
Partin claimed that police coerced her confession.
We know what this is consistent with.
Yeah.
Look at me. We do this for a living.
No, I know.
Okay?
I know.
This is not the first 3-year-old that we're staring at pictures about, okay?
I felt bullied.
Did you lie to the police?
I told them what they wanted to hear.
When it was time for the prosecution to cross-examine Partin, they didn't hold back.
You didn't Google how to make a bruise look better, how to make a bruise feel better. You Googled how to get rid of a bruise. Is that right?
Yes.
You indicated that it was your belief you could physically discipline Hannah.
Yes.
And it was your belief that you could shake her.
Yes.
The jurors gave Miss Partin an opportunity to be heard, and they just didn't believe her.
I do sentence the defendant, Lindsay Partin, to a lifetime imprisonment with parole eligibility after 15 years.
It's something that's in my mind every single day. Time doesn't make anything easier. It makes it rougher. I was relieved that that part was over and she was convicted. I'm glad she went to prison, obviously. We hope that she does not make parole in 2037. It's bewildering. I don't understand how anybody could think that that's okay to do to a child.